I've been thinking about this for a while. Creating a podcast type thing, a personal reflection, kind of like meditations, except meditations Marcus Aurelius never meant to publish his ideas. I do mean to publish these ideas. But when I grew up, there wasn't a clear mentor for me. I was alone a lot of the time, stuck with my thoughts, and I've learned a lot of things. And I wish that version of myself knew everything that I know now. I guess that's what this is. I'm talking to a younger version of myself in hopes that a younger version of who I was will listen to this and take some wisdom from it, and maybe it will help them in the end. That's the end goal. When I was that age, or just younger in general, there was this old man who would make videos in his camper outside of his house. Kind of a beautiful thing. Just giving his wisdom out to the world the best that he could. And I thought that was really great of him. It sure helped me. So, here's to that exact idea. The first thing that I want to talk about is this quote that I heard. A quote from a podcast. It was a podcast with Matthew McConaughey, and Matthew McConaughey just said this quote where, just don't sink the ship. Something so small and yet so profound. Wish I had that phrase when I was younger. Wish I could tell myself that phrase as I went through life. There will be more in your life. There will be other things. Things you can get excited for, things that you'll have to endure. Things that you can look forward to, things that you might hate. But they're all experiences. Ones that will shape who you can become. If you were to try to create the perfect person, they would have to endure some hardships, wouldn't they? They would have to go out and fend for themselves at some points. And to learn anything, you usually have to fail. By not sinking the ship, you're letting yourself open to new ideas and new adventures. I've been at my happiest, and I've been at my worst. And I still have had moments where I can look back on and go, now I know what my worst is, right? And I have a comparator. I never want to be back there, so I work on not being there. But I got through it. I got through that bottom part. I got through the worst parts of my life. The worst headspace. The worst health. The worst everything. I know that point in time, and I didn't sink it then. I didn't sink the ship at my worst. So I can't sink it now. So if anyone does listen to this, here's this idea, this journal, this podcast. Take this moment in time to think about the worst moment you've had. Something that you don't think you can get any worse from that. And that's your place that you're not going to go back to. But you're going to remember for the pure fact of saying that you personally made it through that period of your life, that time, that pinpoint, and you didn't sink it. You endured it. And you can keep going. Life will always have ups and downs. Nothing, and I mean nothing, is guaranteed. You roll a dice coming into this world, and you either get something good, something bad, or something in between. But there will be moments that you'll want to live. There'll be moments when you'll think back, and just in awe of how happy you can be. And it can be 30 seconds. It can be this fleeting moment. But you can also use that memory as well. That memory of pure bliss, that memory of pure happiness. That's maybe an even more important reason not to sink it. And you get to remember that over and over. You get to remember how happy you were in that moment. And it brings a little joy to your face. I'm thinking of one right now, and it's doing just that. Everyone goes through struggles and hardships, even the wealthiest and the richest of us. And also, I know by saying the big platitudes of everyone, you listening don't want to hear that. I didn't want to hear that when I was going through my worst times. I hated those sentences. I hated, oh, well, everyone goes through this, and you're not special, you're just like everyone. I so badly wanted to be special. I so badly wanted to put a name to what I was feeling. I needed something. I needed an escape. I needed to have a word or an idea. I never got that. What I got was a lot of time alone, a lot of time to think, a lot of time to talk to people, try to solve their own problems, a lot of time to realize that solving other people's problems, you leave your own problems behind. And when you run away from the problems that you think you have, or you do have, they always catch up, just at a later date. You're only pausing the inevitable. And you might get compound interest out of that as well. This all sounds like rambling, and it really is. What I'm trying to say is hard to articulate. What I'm hoping to get across is hard to articulate. What I hope I'm saying, what I'm hoping is hard to get across. But I guess it's live through it a bit. Because there will be a greener grass. There will be better times ahead of you. There will be good and happy memories to make. And sometimes it's just also changing your perspective. Small things can be really, really important and really life-changing. There was a guy called Charlie Rocket. Still is. Not was. And he has a saying, you're winning today. And how do you win? Well, you can walk into your local coffee shop and get, a cup of coffee, and the warmth, energy, brings a smile to your face, gives you something that day. And that day you won. Something as small as a cup of coffee can make you win, because it might change the dynamic of your day. And if you look at it from that perspective, your whole life can change, because small things can become great things. A book I read when I was younger called The Phantom Tollbooth also has this idea of perspective. A bucket of water to us is just a bucket of water. To an ant, it is a large lake. To an elephant, it is a cool drink of water. If you can change your perspective, if you can win a little more, and if you don't sink the ship, you could change the trajectory of your life for the better. And all of these things are not easy. They're not things to be expected of a day, of a week, of a month. They're small things to work at. You have to work on yourself. If you stop working on yourself, you've given up on yourself. And never give up on yourself. Because you're worth putting in the effort. You're worth it. That kid, all those years ago, who spent all that time alone, clinging to the idea that he needed something, giving up on himself time after time after time, is worth it. You, who stumbled upon this random podcast or whatever this is, are worth it. Even if 1, 2, or 3 people listen to this, doesn't matter. You're worth it. I think that's the real takeaway. It's not don't sink the ship. It's your worth making that ship better. You're worth the time and the effort to make that ship better, to put in the work to have a better ship. And having a better ship could just making sailing into this big world that's filled with messed up stuff just maybe a little bit easier. So if you've taken anything away from this, please let it be just a simple fact that you're worth it.